Welcome to the Second Chance at Life podcast. I'm your host, Arvilla Beckworth, and today we have a special interview. The young lady that I'll be bringing on, her name is Miss Jenny King. And before I go through all her accolades, let me just go ahead and bring her on first.
Hi, Arvilla. Thank you. So
Hey,
good to
girl,
be
how are
here.
you today?
Hello, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great, enjoying this. I can say cooler weather. It's getting cooler here in Colorado, so I'm
Same.
enjoying the time that is, getting some breath of fresh air.
Right, exactly. It's starting to cool off a little bit in Georgia, and I'm starting to pull out my getting my fall clothes ready because I love fall. So I'm excited about that.
Also, fall is your season?
Fall is my season. I'm a November baby, so fall is my season. I'm all about cooler weather. Love fall and spring mostly.
Okay, yeah, I think mine's a spring because I
Yes.
love the birth of new things. When things lead
Yes.
up to the winter time, I love spring. It's just kind of
Yeah.
not too hot, not too cold, but in between. So
Yeah.
that's good to know. November, okay,
Yeah.
welcome, baby. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Would you mind please telling my listeners a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, again, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity, Arvilla. I'm so excited. I've been excited all week to get a chance to share with you and your community. So I'm Jenny King, aka Ginger the Friend. I am an author, public speaker, host, and an empowerment coach. And I'm passionate about all things wellness and love helping women really organize and structure their lives so they can take their lives to the next level. I think so often we get stuck in life, different things impact us. And so I love coming alongside women to help them along their journey so they can move from that stuck place to a more abundant place. And on my platform, I focus on faith and fitness and fashion and just learning to have fun in life overall.
Now you do focus on the fashion. I watch you on the stories. I'm like, she be putting these outfits together. She knows what she feels comfortable in.
I
She knows
love
what
it.
looks good on her. So
Yes. And even through the struggles with weight, which I'm sure we'll get in, just still learning. And it's a daily um, journey and opportunity to still show up,
mhm.
despite, where I might be on my fitness journey, to still show up and express myself through my fashion. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
love
do a
that.
great job. Yeah, but no one else told you, you be coming through with the outfits.
Thank
So
you. Thank
you
you.
are hitting
I see it too,
it.
sis. You come through too. I
Thank
love it.
you. Thank you. And as you talk about your weight journey, in your book, Living Whole, Healthy, and Free, you talk about your struggles with your weight loss and low self esteem. Would you mind sharing some of your struggles and how it affects you mentally?
Absolutely. So I actually I love this question because it really is sort of the basis of my platform and my story overall. Just my struggles with weight loss and my struggles with low self esteem over the years. I grew up overweight and I was teased severely in school as a child, and I believe that really was the start of my challenges with low self-esteem, which roll over into those challenges with mental health. From that, so many things uh, develop. Lack of confidence, not really feeling comfortable in your skin, not able to really find your voice. And so that's something that I've struggled with over the years. And one thing that I've learned throughout my journey is that it's so important to really make your mental health a priority. And by that, I mean focusing on that inner dialogue. And so I've been able to really track back all the challenges I've had over the years. Yes, I was bullied as a child. Yes, I've struggled with low self-esteem. Yes, I've had those confident issues. But really, the heart of it is the conversations that I'm having internally when I'm at home or when I'm in an interaction with someone. Oftentimes, I'll create a scenario that really has nothing to do with anything that's going on. And so, really, it goes back to dealing with that inner dialogue, challenging that negative self talk. So that you can work to overcome those low self-esteem issues, so that you can work to push through the challenges with weight. I think it really all goes back to mental health, and it all goes back to, again, that inner dialogue that we have with ourselves.
And as women, low self-esteem hit us all at certain times of our life, and sometimes it can really be hard to bounce back. What did you do to rebuild your self-esteem?
Sure. I thought about I've thought about this a lot, over the last several years, and I talk about this in my book, Live Healthy and Free. There came a point in my life where I said, you know what, enough is enough. I'm tired of living this life really in a cage, afraid to be myself, constantly comparing myself to others. And so I decided that I wanted to do something different because I didn't want that to be my story. And that's the key. Like, we have to realize that we have that power. We really can design the life that we want. We can control that narrative. It's in our hands. And so I, came to that realization, took that control, took that power back, and started this journey that I like to call my whole self-discovery journey. And so ways along my journey that I went about bouncing back is really, step one for me was getting to know myself. Who is Jenny? Who am I? What do I like? What do I love? What do I like about myself? What don't I like about myself? And so really taking the time to get to know me. And then step two was really falling in love with Jenny. As I am. So when I'm a couple of pounds heavier or when I'm a couple of pounds lighter, I still love who I am. And it's because I know who I am. So those are the first two steps that I took throughout my journey. And then the third was learning not to look for validation for others. When I was younger, I really struggled with that. And so throughout my journey, I've learned, okay, I've got to separate myself from that, because that really is where some of our self-esteem issues can come from, when we're basing how we view ourselves on how we think other people view us. And that's not to say we can't reach out to friends or family for perspective, but we have to be so grounded and solid in who we are. And again, it goes back to step 1 and 2: get to know yourself, love yourself as you are. We have to be so grounded in that. That we're not fazed by what other people think. So not, looking for validation from others. And then for me, the fourth thing on my journey really has been going back to what we talked about earlier, developing those healthy self-talk habits. So along the way, those four things are ways that I've worked to really bounce back.
And I love when you talk about comparison, because I know for me, I have to be careful with what I see on social media, because
Mhm.
I can start to compare my life to the other people around. How do you protect yourself from that?
Oh my gosh, I love this question. I touch on this in my book. I think in the first chapter and throughout, but primarily in the first chapter, because it's
Mhm.
so important. It's something that so many of us struggle with.
Yes.
Comparison. Um, it is a stiller of joy and peace, and it is something that along our journey we have to deal with at the very beginning. Because if we don't, it'll stifle our growth and our ability to continue to evolve into the women that we want to be. Um, and so, ways that I've worked to protect myself from comparison is to really understand what that means. When we're
Mhm.
comparing ourselves to others, what we're saying is this is a competition and it's a race, and it's me against Arvilla, it's me against Jasmine, it's me against whomever, right?
Mhm. Right.
And that's not the case. This is an individualized experience. Here there's a saying that says life is a journey, not a destination, and that's so true. And it's an individualized journey. It is not a journey where what I'm doing or where I am in life has to measure up with the next person.
Mhm.
So the way I protect myself from that way of thinking is just by realizing, hey, this is my personal experience, and I have to take ownership of that. I have to be okay with how I define things throughout life for myself, and just learn that I can't look to the left or the right for that. I have to go within. And I love saying go within, because for me that means really seeking God for direction about where I need to go next in life, and being okay with that. Whatever that is between me and him, being okay with that, and then taking action from there. But for me, protecting myself from comparison means first and foremost recognizing and accepting that it's not a competition. This is my personal individualized experience.
And what ways can we love ourselves and be more confident? Because sometimes we don't get those tools in school. We don't get them from our parents. We may not even get them as adults. But what can you tell us that you find easy to love yourself and be more confident?
Absolutely. And I love this question because it's something that I've discovered along the way on my journey. And I want to preface this, what I'm going to share with
Mhm.
that, because it's going to be different for everyone. Um, Everyone has to go about intentionally finding out how to love yourself, and that's a part of the journey. When you start out getting to know yourself, getting to fall in love with yourself. Some practical things that I did that you may want to consider are sitting in silence with myself, journaling, um, taking myself out on dates. I did that quite a bit early on in my in my journey. Reading books. I mean, I love to read. It's something that I really try to promote on my platform. I think it's important. It gives you perspective. It helps you learn a lot about yourself and others, and just the way other people think, and you can incorporate some of those learnings into how you go about designing your life. Seeking professional help, whether that be therapy, counseling, reaching out to a friend, wise counsel if you're reaching out to people. So many different things. For me, I love to go get a good pedicure. I love to shop within reason, having a budget, a healthy budget that I set. But I love to do that. That's one way that I show myself love. And so those are some practical things. But then I think there's some deeper things that we can do, like really um, dealing with that negative self-talk, and having and developing a personal relationship with God or whoever your higher power may be. Those are some other more deeper, more intimate ways that we can work to love ourselves. And again, I think that's different for every person. And the way you really get to that is by on your journey, learning to love yourself and learning who you are, learning what you enjoy. And those are some ways you can really find and discover how to love yourself.
Oh, okay. I love those tips. And you're right, it is easy to look at someone else's journey and try to cookie cutter it. And like you said, everyone's journey is going to be different. So you
Mhm.
got to be careful. Just because I see you, Jen, doing it a certain way, I can't copy what you're doing because I may
Mhm.
not be on that same path, and I can probably do myself more harm than good
Absolutely.
doing what Jen is doing. So thank you for the transparency of, doing your own thing and loving yourself.
Absolutely.
Um, as Black women, it's time to let go of the Black women stigma, unbothered, proud, strong, and start being honest with our mental health. How can we replace I'm fine with I need help?
Oh my gosh, this is such a phenomenal question, because it's real. First up, I'll just say it's simple, really. It's replacing I'm fine with I need help. It's that simple. But there's a lot of work that goes into that, because the reason why we have that stigma is because of the social norms, and we've been taught and conditioned over the years. This is the way, we as Black women, we have to just carry on. We have to be strong. We have to, even if we're dealing with something. Don't let people see that you're struggling. Go, keep going, keep pushing, and carry that strong image. um, but I think it's important, as we continue to evolve in culture and just evolve as people individually, we have to be okay with changing that narrative and making it just as simple as replacing I'm fine with I need help. And I went through this personally. I'd say it started about 2 years ago, had a lot of going on. I think some of it was just impacts from the pandemic, change after change, and just personally, it was challenging for me to really deal with so many changes that I was going through. Had a lot going on with work, had a lot going on personally, had a water leak with my condo, had to deal with stuff. There's just so much I was
Mm.
dealing with, and I really went into a really dark place. And for so long, I felt like, okay, I need to, when I go to work, show up. I need to still, people can't know that I'm struggling. Or, if a friend calls me and they need help, I need to be there because I'm that person, right? I need to be that shoulder that people can go to. And all the while inside, I was broken and was, dealing with a lot, and really bleeding from the inside out. And so I decided, you know what, strong, what does that mean anyway? I need to define that for myself. And for me, in that moment, that meant I'm I am going to be strong for Jenny, and I'm going to reach out and get help. And so I reached out, and then really it was the first time I reached out for professional counseling. And the sessions I would say were more so like, life coach,
Mhm.
but still, it was something that I needed. I needed to get support from someone else, to get some different perspective, to hear a different perspective from someone else. And my counselor was able to help me through that season. And while it lasted for some time, I came out of it. But I believe that I came out of it because I reached out for help. And I didn't
Mm.
just sit back and uh, accept the social norm that as a Black woman, I'm supposed to portray this strong image, even though I'm struggling on the inside. I fought through that. I said, no, I'm going to define what strength means for myself during this season. And for me, it meant reaching out for help. And so I'll just go back to saying it's really simple. It's just replacing I'm fine with I need help. And being okay with whatever the work that it's going to require, within that I need help moment,
Mhm.
the work so that you can, progress through that season.
And I love the title of the book you have. What is the reason behind it? I mean, was there a meaning, reason, or just the title?
Absolutely. So the title came, um, just, I think, just organically as I was writing the book, and there is a meaning behind it. And I talk about it in the book, and really, my book is all about my whole self discovery journey that I've embarked on and been on for probably at this point 15 years or so, and throughout my journey, I've learned so many different lessons. I talk about comparison in the book. I talk about struggling with low self-esteem. I talk about my struggles with weight loss. And I talk about all of those lessons that life has presented to me. And at the end of every lesson, I kept coming back to living in the moment, living
Mhm.
in the moment. And for me, that meant, if I'm dealing with a difficult situation, learning to push past the fear of it. Really, it came back to living in the moment. If I'm dealing with some low self-esteem issues, really the lesson was, learning to be kind to myself, and it came back to living in the moment. If I'm dealing with my weight and I've gained a few pounds, even after months of doing extremely well. I've in the past would have beat myself up over that, but now I'm much better about just getting back up when I fall off. And I've recognized that again, that goes back to living in the moment. And so for me, live whole, healthy, and free means living in the moment. Things aren't always going to be great, but stay in the moment and be committed to living whole, be committed to living healthy, and be committed to living free. And so I believe that they're synonymous. And so that for me is what the title means. It really goes back to living in the moment. And I'd really try in the guide to walk the reader through the steps that I've taken to learn to live in the moment so that I can live whole, healthy, and free.
Oh my gosh. I mean, the sentence, when I first seen the title, I was like, well, I know there has to be a meaning behind it because I was like, it flows so well. But then when in turn thinking about mental health, that's really what a lot of people struggle with. I mean, like
Yes,
you said, living in the moment,
yes, ma'am.
being healthy, being free. So you spoke about a lot of things in just one title.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
it's like, okay, there has to be a meaning behind this title. I got to ask her. But I love the way that you put it together because, like I said, sometimes we do have those struggles where we don't live in the moment. It's so
mm-hmm,
hard because you're dealing with so much. It's hard to live in the moment. You're
mm-hmm,
trying to get past that very struggle, whether if it's depression,
mm-hmm,
anxiety,
mm-hmm,
burnout,
mm-hmm.
whatever the mental health is, it's hard to live in the moment.
It's so hard. Yeah, it's so challenging. But I think if we go back to some of the things we talked about earlier, really learning to love yourself, fall in love with yourself, know who you are, stop comparing yourself. All those things help you, to get back to that center, I like to call it,
Mhm.
and to stay in the moment, seize the moment, live in the moment, live whole, healthy, and free.
And I love the fact that you talked about getting a life coach.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people all the time, whether it's a life coach or a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
we need someone to help us outside of ourselves because sometimes we are so in our own bubble.
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes we repeat the same thing over and over again. We
Mm-hmm.
don't see our roadblocks. We're
Mm-hmm.
afraid to get out of our comfort zone. But sometimes I think that enables us.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the fact that you talked about that, even you being a coach yourself, an empowerment coach, how important it is to have someone out there that's, on your side,
Yes,
have an unbiased opinion,
absolutely.
giving you steps that you need. So being a life coach, how do you say that you affect people, or empowerment coach? How do you think it affects people when you reach out to them?
Absolutely. I think that's the key. It's getting that unbiased opinion, that different perspective.
Hmm.
I can share personally, and then I can share just from the heart of a coach myself. Personally, when I was in my really dark season, I couldn't see anything but the darkness, and so reaching out for help. Was so necessary during that time because I needed someone to say, "Hey, do you hear yourself? Look at all the great things you've accomplished, or you have so much more, time and opportunity ahead of you, or don't be so hard on yourself." So I needed someone to really help come alongside and kind of speak life into my situation when I wasn't able to. And so as a coach, that's the gifting and the honor that we have, that you and I have. We're able to come alongside clients and support people through their dark season. And even if it's not necessarily a dark season, just in general, life in general, some days are just tough. And so,
Mhm.
sometimes you just need that extra support to help raise your arms, to help, lift your head, just to help give you some perspective. And so that's what I love to do as an empowerment coach, helping individuals, particularly those who have dealt with trauma or dealing with some type of dark season or challenge that they just can't move beyond. And so I love to come help and help add some structure, offer some different perspective, help them talk through and think through some of that stuff so that we can move on and get beyond it and then keep progressing.
Last but not least, please tell my audience where they can connect with you online.
Absolutely. So you can find me online on all platforms at Ginger the Friend. You can also connect with me on my website, gingerthefriend.com. I do offer a 15-minute consultation. If you just want to chat and connect, I'd love to get to know you more. You can get to know me more. I also have a 90-minute VIP empowerment boost where we can
Oh,
dig deeper into your situation, learn a little bit more about you, and I can help you develop a roadmap so that you can move from the stuck place that you're in to more abundance. So definitely connect with me on my website, gingerthefriend.com. You can follow me on all things social at Ginger the Friend. I do have a book available, Live Whole, Healthy, and Free. It is available on all platforms, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, Target. Check it out. I believe that it will bless your life.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for being transparent. I want to tell you, even watching you on social media, I love the fact that even when you have to step away,
Mm,
you said that and you were okay with that. You
mm,
didn't have to apologize. You were still doing your healing from behind. And I,
mhm,
I thought that was so beautiful to see that you were able to say, hey, I have to step away, but I got to do me. So I
mhm.
just want to say thank you for being so transparent because, I was like, where is Jen? I ain't seen her. But then when you kind of finally start to re-show back up and was giving bits and pieces to us, I'm like, okay, sis was on a journey. She
Mhm.
was, going through some things. But then as I see you now, you seem a lot happier. You're more out there more. So I'm so glad to see you back out.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's a journey, and I always encourage people to put yourself first, make yourself a priority, and if that means taking a break, taking a beat, do that. Do what you need to do to pour into yourself so that you're able to pour into others. So thank you for sharing that. I needed that feedback, and and yeah, I'm slowly trying to get back to it because I have a heart to serve and help. So I want to be available to help and serve.
Well, you'll be coming from a genuine place. So best believe the rest that you've had and the things you've been doing, it's going to pay off in long run. So
Receive that.
yes, man. Well, thank you so much for showing up with us today. Ladies, I hope this interview has put some nuggets in your heart. And if you're struggling with some things right now, like Jen said, head over to our website, I'll make sure I'll put all her information in the show notes. Get the 15-minute clarity call with her, and you may never know what you're going through. She can possibly help you get through. So please take advantage of all the women that I bring across here that are offering services so they can help you through your mental situation. So until next time, you guys, you have a great week. Bye bye.
Awesome. Bye.